So the other day I was looking at Nvidia's RTX graphics cards because I like looking at PC hardware I don't have. But I never ended up learning what deep learning supersampling actually ended up doing, so I actually decided to look it up. It's this really weird combination of resolution upscaling combined with anti-aliasing. A lot of it went over my head. The basic gist I got was that Nvidia basically trained a supercomputer to understand the way frames rendered in certain games, and then that supercomputer data was put into game drivers and game patches. The end result being that games would have better performance because the GPU has all this predictive data from some other supercomputer, I guess. And then that would cause your performance to go up a fair bit. Specifically, what I found interesting is that Nvidia themselves specifically says that it works best at higher resolutions and at lower frame rates. But in the PC gaming market, like, DLSS doesn't make any sense. It's entirely proprietary to Nvidia hardware, and you need Nvidia's help in order for this supercomputer training thing to even begin with, so it's probably very restricted to AAA games that already use GeForce technologies. So pretty much the fact that you have to have a supercomputer from one hardware vendor in order for this to even work, I will bet you that this is probably dead in the water. However, that's not the case for consoles, where I actually think DLSS can be used rather well. I'm gonna be leaving Nintendo Switch out of this because even though I adore that console, it has nowhere near enough resolution for DLSS to work at all for its games. Because of the way that the console ecosystem works, you have to go through the people that make the hardware in order for your game to get released. In addition, because there's a limited number of hardware SKUs, it's a lot easier for everybody to be on board in using DLSS. Also, since most consoles are going to be played on a 16:9 display, you don't have to worry about having to train the AI for, say, like an ultra-wide display on top of training it in the first place, like on PC. Now, Gamers Nexus did this really interesting benchmark with Final Fantasy 15 when that DLSS patch came out. And you know, Final Fantasy 15 doesn't work in the same way as all the other DLSS games. It goes from 1440p to 4K instead of 4K to some higher resolution. Per their testing, you can see a 5 to 10 frame difference between 4K DLSS and native 4K with the other anti-aliasing options, which is pretty good when you're trying to hit a consistent 60 frames per second. And I know that DLSS has a weird blurriness issue right now, but theoretically, if the technology could be perfected, this could really be a game changer for anti-aliasing, to be honest. Now, this sounds great and all, but I do think there is one tiny little problem with this that could probably not happen on consoles. AI training every game sounds like a nightmare. You would need tons and tons of processing power running all the time for how many games that get certification for PlayStation and Xbox. Nvidia is doing their games one at a time, and it takes them forever to do so. You know, try to imagine doing 15 to 100 games at a time. It sounds like a freaking nightmare. And making a DLSS equivalent only available to AAA publishers seems kind of unfair on Sony or Microsoft's part to a lot of the other developers as well. So I don't see that happening either. So thanks for watching my stupid video and have a nice day.